Hello and welcome to Wholesome Evolution. Now in today's video, I will be continuing my Everyone is Psychic series. Today's video will be focused on the clairaudience, the gift of clear hearing. Now, this hearing extends past our physical limitations that we normally give ourselves. This gift can hear and perceive outside of this physical realm. Now, we in this 3D reality have a three-dimensional basis. Now, what does this mean? This means that we are measured by length, width, and height. So we have 3 dimensions. Now, there are other beings that are of other dimensions aside from this one alone. There's the 4th dimension, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and so on. And when we begin to connect to beings outside of this realm, there will be many things that we need to put into place in order to begin to hear them. And I do want to mention, when you begin to open up your gifts, when you begin to open up your energy centers, your chakras that are within your own body, then you begin to open up to spirit. Now this can lead to a sense of spaciness. So in another video, I will talk about grounding ourselves while we are here in this physical reality during times of channeling and vision and sensing and so on. This is very, very important. This is something that I had to learn. So I really want to make sure that I give you all the information that I possibly can to make your journey much easier. Now, you may be asking, who will you be able to hear during this act of clairaudience? Well, there are angels, there are ascended masters. And for those of you who do not know who an ascended master is, it would be someone such as Buddha or Jesus, Krishna. Anyone that has come to this earthly plane in order to teach us high levels of awareness and high levels of consciousness. We may call upon these ascended masters for guidance. So that also includes extraterrestrials. Now, these extraterrestrials come in all different types of vibrations and dimensions. We even have extraterrestrials that are lower vibration than we currently are. Now, this type of contact we want to eliminate. We do not want to communicate with anyone lower than us. We always want to raise our vibration and connect to higher dimensions. Because the higher you go, the more love and compassion these beings have. Now, we can also communicate to loved ones who have passed on. This is such a beautiful thing to be able to do. Now, once we're able to communicate with them, we can also feel them and sense them and see them. And our gifts will grow simultaneously. Now, it depends on your specific needs and wants. Maybe you are someone who wants to focus more so on the hearing aspect. So this is what you will focus on. Maybe you're someone who wants to focus more on seeing. Now, it's important to grow all of your gifts and then focus on one that you really want to strengthen, because each of our gifts aid the other gift in some way. So sometimes our intuition, the clear feeling, clear knowing, needs to also evolve in order for us to hear or in order for us to see. So they complement one another, and they're all very, very important. Now, anyhow, I want to move on and share with you how you can open up this gift. Now, I need to mention that each and every single one of us is different. So someone's clear hearing may be much stronger than another's. And some of us may be disappointed because we wanted to hear this loud voice that comes outside of us, when majority of us will hear an internal voice. Now, we can receive communication in an external way. Personally, I have received information internally and externally. It's come in the form of my voice internally. It's also come in the form of someone else's voice internally as well. Also, I've heard external voices that came in a different tone, a different just a different way than they normally do. So it depends on how well you can hear and how much experience you have. And sometimes that doesn't even matter. So it all pertains to each individual. What type of experience do you already have in your past lives? What are you bringing over? That also aids to your personal development during this time. Now, what I've noticed is during the times of growth where I was training myself to hear more often, because I'll be honest with you, in the beginning, it happened out of nowhere. So I was quite surprised on what was happening. It was astonishing to me. It was mind-boggling, mind-blowing. So once this started to happen, I wanted to strengthen it more. So I would do exercises. And in the beginning, it came across as my own voice. And my guides, their way of confirming what I was receiving is that after I received something, they would send me to my computer where a website would pop up out of nowhere. And I want to mention, I never voiced any of this. This was all internal. So they would send me to a website where, say we were talking about health and well-being and, how we can cure cancer, how we can help cancer from growing and evolving in your body. So they would send me to a study that was done or a holistic doctor, and this web page would just pop up out of nowhere, and it would confirm exactly what I was receiving. And this happened over and over and over again. And YouTube, the platform I am on, they use this for me a lot. So they would do the same thing. They would say, go to YouTube, and the first video that popped up was always exactly what I had just received, exactly what I had just channeled. Yet, the YouTuber would discuss it in their own way, or they would add more information than I had received. So it was constant confirmation, because I'm a very skeptical person. I've always questioned everything in life since I was very young. This is how I've gotten to where I am now, which is wonderful because I'm someone who's able to think outside of the box, and I don't conform just to conform. I like to experience things for myself, and I always knew that beyond this earthly plane, it was just an inherent knowing inside of me that beyond this earthly plane there was so much more, that there was answers to all of my questions, which I received during this time of awakening when I began channeling. So yes, in the beginning it was internal, and then there was times where I would think about something, and I want you to practice this. I want you to voice to the universe a question that you have and sit in meditation. Now, as you sit in meditation, I want you to focus on that question that you have and sit in silence. And as you sit in silence, you may receive something then and there. Now, if you do not receive something then and there, do not be disappointed, because it is coming. It will come. That answer will come. You will hear it. Now, if you're also focusing on your other gifts as well, simultaneously during this time, it may come in a different way. But I want you to ask. I want you to tell your angels, your spiritual guides. We all have spiritual guides who guide us through our lifetime. These are beings who have already been here on earth or have imprints of lives being on earth, so they can help guide us through our journey. They know what we want to accomplish. They know our goals. So they want to help us get there. They want to keep us on track. So you can voice to them that I'm working on opening up my clear hearing. Please guide me and protect me during this time. Allow me to hear the truth and nothing but the truth as I open up my gifts. And let it be. Let it go. If you don't hear anything immediately, just let it go. And you'll be surprised. A day will go by, a couple days, or even a week. And all of a sudden, you will feel this energy around you, and all of a sudden you'll hear the answer. You'll receive it. Practice this over and over again. Now, why does that happen, that we can't receive it immediately? Now, sometimes we are in the way. Sometimes our ego is in the way. Sometimes we are not as receptive. Sometimes we need to be a little detached, because our minds, if we haven't practiced meditation, we haven't practiced quieting our minds, and we constantly have an opinion about everything, then our minds will get in the way and will block us from receiving the accurate information that we're meant to receive. So out of nowhere, this information will come to you when you're ready, when you're open, when you're receptive, when you're not blocking it with your own answer, because it may be different than the one you are receiving. Now, many times it may be exactly what you thought it was all along, but many times I have been blown away, and you will as well. Ask some really mind-boggling questions. And another thing you can do, another exercise that I like to do, and I like to share with others, is grab a deck of cards. You can get index cards. You can even order some cards online. They have some cards where there's words on them, and they're like a playing deck where you're supposed to act out the word. So either or, choose whatever you want and write words down, maybe objects, colors, whatever it is. And I want you to shuffle those cards and pick one out of the deck. Now, don't look at it. I want you to feel it with your hands, and I want you to fully connect to it. And during the time, also ask your guides to connect you to the word that is on this card. And I want you to hear it. Help them help you. Tell them what you want. So this is very important through your journey of growing spiritually, opening up your gifts. They're able to guide us when we set parameters. So if we tell them that we need them to ring our left ear when we need to pick up our phone, to look at the number, say there's a message in a number, say we're using numbers as messages for ourselves, tell them to ring our left ear, or to ring the right ear if they need to sit us down into meditation so we can receive something. Tell them to play with our hair. I've experienced all of these, and I've told my guides, I'm like, okay, in the beginning, ring my ears, because this is actually how they started to communicate with me. They would ring my ears. And I wanted to make sure that there was nothing wrong with my ears. So I asked them, do something more pronounced. I want to make sure it's you, and I want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. So next time that they communicated with me, they made a huge vibration in my head. It was like a ringing of the ear, but it was like a head orgasm. It was wild, and it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And I was immediately alerted by them. I knew it was them. And I'm like, okay, wow, great. So you're still ringing my ears, but you made it more pronounced like I asked, which was perfect. So they listen. Now, their voice also grew louder and more pronounced because I asked them to. This will develop over time. Remember, this is you training your body to react in a certain way. Now, if you're older and you've lived through life a certain way for so long, your body has picked up on that certain habit. So you've learned to only receive information through music, through television, through the spoken word of someone else. So now we're retraining ourselves to hear beyond this physical realm, to hear telepathically. This is what happens. Now, our brain is deciphering these telepathic codes that we receive. And when we receive this, our mind is using our voice to translate it for us. So this is why many people think, oh, maybe it's just my own voice and I'm making things up. This is why you need to practice so you can become more confident. And you may be wrong a couple times in the beginning, or you may not hear anything, but that's okay. Like I said, we are retraining this muscle, retraining this ability. So we want to make sure that we're consistent and we continuously practice. Now, another thing that I really want to stress, first of all, if you have already listened to my meditation on opening your psychic gifts, perfect. You want to use that boundary that I set of protection for yourself before you begin opening these gifts, before you begin practicing in this realm. Now, there are a lot of energies around us, so we want to make sure that we raise our vibration. In the beginning especially, you want to make sure that you do this. You want to make sure you're eating very healthy, live foods that you feel very high vibrational, you're happy, even content, blissful. You want to make sure that you stay away from these practices when you're angry, when you're depressed, when you're super stressed, because these beings that we're trying to connect with, the angels, the spiritual guides, not only would they have to work so much harder to come down to our level to communicate with us, but in this instance, we can also attract other beings around us that are earthbound, say people that have passed on, that have not moved to the light yet, or other beings, extraterrestrials or lower vibrational beings that are around us that can notice and sense that we're trying to open these gifts up, so they will come and communicate with us. We don't want this. We want to make sure that we start off in the right way, that we are protecting ourselves at all times. And during this time, we can also call in on our loved ones and these ascended masters and spiritual guides after we have protected ourselves. So put that white light around you, protect yourself, state that you are fully protected and guided, and you only receive the truth and nothing but the truth from these high vibrational, loving, unconditionally loving beings. So be it. Because our word dictates what happens. We're always attracting into our life. So when we state something like this, we state that we are protected and we are guided by the truth, and nothing but the truth we will be. And you may go through that phase of learning how that works. And during this time, I want you to feel the vibration. I want you to hear the tones. I want you to also feel the sensations around you in your surrounding area. Maybe the warmth. Maybe feel a warmth come in. Whatever it is, when you receive that guidance, when you receive that information that you're looking for, I want you to really focus on that. So you know each and every single time you do these practices, how it feels, what it feels like, what tone you're receiving this information in. Because it's very important. Now let me go back to the part where I talk about how a lot of the communication we receive will be internal. What is very pertinent to this journey, very important, is that you meditate daily. Set this as a habit for yourself. Set this as a priority. You want to make sure every single day, either morning, night, whenever, at least once a day, even twice a day, you sit in a quiet space where you can sit down, cross your legs, put your legs out. As long as you're sitting upright so you don't fall asleep, I want you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes and begin to remove all of that chatter that is in your minds. We have monkey minds. We hear this all the time. The chatter that's going on in our heads is non-stop. And I have to say, once I started meditating, I can sit in one spot where I can focus on one thing or communicate with someone and not hear all of this. And it's beautiful. Because what happens is it places me in the present moment. When I'm sitting and I just want to absorb the beauty around me, I'm not being taken to, oh, what do I need to do later on? Oh, shoots, I forgot to do this. Or oh my gosh, I can't believe this is coming up. I'm not ready, I'm not prepared. I'm sitting in the present moments when I am consciously wanting to experience the present moment, because I've trained myself through meditation. And how does this help when you're channeling? This helps because when you're trying to receive something, your own mind isn't going to interject in the process of learning and hearing. You're going to be quiet. So you want to sit in meditation and quiet your mind. You don't want to hear a thing. It may be difficult at times, especially in the beginning, but I want you to keep going, okay? Keep going. It will get easier. I promise you that. You're just so used to hearing all this chatter day in and day out. So please just sit down, make it a priority, quiet your minds, maybe even do it 3 times a day. If you can do it 3 times a day for 5 minutes each, you're doing great. So when you get into this practice of opening up this clear hearing, it'll get so much easier. So much easier. So that's the most important thing. When you begin, that is the most important thing. Now, another thing that we can do, here's another exercise I'm going to give you. Contact someone that can help you with this, a loved one, a friend, family member, whoever it is, where they are going to visualize themselves sending you or speaking to you at a distance, telling you a word, one word. You can start off by telling them, please think of one object and visualize and hear yourself telling me tree. As you can see, as they can see you in front of them. And they're going to be doing this at a distance. And if they have a hard time visualizing, they can say it out loud as long as they are not near you. And tell them to do this all day a couple of times. So at the end of the day, what you want to do, or even during the day, you may hear it. But whenever you're ready, I want you to just close your eyes. And I want you to see them in front of you. And in order to focus on your ears alone and the hearing alone, I want you to actually focus on them standing away from you, like besides you, so you can't see their lips moving. Now, if you want to focus on visualization, this is something you can do, is have them stand right in front of you as you watch their mouth move to the word they say. But now, to really just focus on clear hearing, you want to have them beside you, or even just feel their presence and hear the word that they say. I want you to connect to them. Now, what happens? By them aiding you in this process, they're energetically connecting to you. Now, you may have experienced this a time or two. I know I experience it all the time. I will think about someone. So this either goes that I'm connecting to them or they're connecting to me, or both ways. So I will think about someone that I haven't spoken to in a very long time. And all of a sudden I get a phone call from them. Or all of a sudden I get a text message from them. I've experienced this with people that I haven't spoken to in years, and all of a sudden they run across my mind, and there it is, a phone call from them, or a text message, or an email. And this is the same thing with this activity that you do. You're connecting to them. You're just putting your focus on it versus having this phenomenon that happens. This is the same thing, just with focus. So this will help you so much. So at the end of the day, I want you to contact them and tell them what you received. Now, if it's wrong in the beginning, don't you worry. Don't you worry. You're going to get better, much better. But the next time around, I want you to do it again. The next time around, detach yourself from getting it wrong. Just don't even think about it, because you don't want to create a fear that you're going to be wrong again. You just want to release that. Just be like, this time I got it. I'm going to focus and I'm going to get it. I'm going to hear the word that she or he had spoken to me at a distance. I'm going to hear it. So practice that. It's a wonderful, wonderful exercise to use. So overall, I hope all of this helped you in many ways on your journey of clear hearing. And if you have experienced clear hearing at all, please comment below and let me know what your experiences were. How did it come across? Was it internal? Was it more external? Did you hear a specific voice? How often is it? Or do you have any accompanying feelings that come along with it? I want to know about your journey or even your progress. So if you're practicing this and it's something that you really want to focus on and you want to experience growth from it, please check in the future and let me know how your progress is going. And if you have any questions, please also comment those down below. I want to make more videos. I have many topics that I still need to cover pertaining to this whole topic. So I hope to have all of you back soon, because I really am enjoying what I do from the bottom of my heart. Giving this knowledge out is something that really feeds my soul, and I cannot wait to see and hear about all the progress that all of you have made. So I will hopefully hear from at least one of you, because it will truly make me feel really nice inside. So namaste. I truly love all of you from the bottom of my heart. I hold so much unconditional love. Throughout this journey, I've grown in so many ways, and one of the things that really affected me the most was my heart center, my heart chakra, growing and expanding. When we focus on connecting to the divine, it is impossible not to raise your vibration. It is impossible not to feel better and more connected to our own self. So I really hope that your journey is a good one, and you continue to elevate and prosper and grow. And I hope that you also use these gifts to help others, and you also use these gifts to elevate your own life, because through this guidance, we will always be on track with exactly who we're meant to be. So use these gifts wisely, and I'll see you soon.